Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to another session on analyzing previous year papers from UPSC Mains. In this video, we'll be analyzing General Studies paper 3 from the year 2014. Particularly, we'll be covering from questions number 1 to question number 10. The later questions will be covered in a later video, so please subscribe so that you don't miss that video too. So without any further delay, let us get into the first question itself. Question number 1 is, normally countries shift from agriculture to industry and then later to services. But India shifted directly from agriculture to services. What are the reasons for huge growth of services vis-a-vis industry in the country? Can India become a developed country without a strong industrial base? So, in an essence, this question is giving you the chronology of India arriving at its current position, which is a global leader or at least one of the top global providers of services. India currently hinges upon services as an economic growth accelerator. So that's the reality of it. So let us explore the question in a bit detail. The question establishes that for any country to become a developed country, it has to go through the cycle of or transition from an agrarian society to an industrialized society and then later to a service based society. But that is not the case in our regards, because we are as much as an agrarian society as of today as we are that of a services oriented or services based economy. Not only that, India to an extent, not completely but to a greater extent, skipped the process or skipped the cycle of industrialized society. India is not an industrialized society. There are industries there, but it is not an industrialized society to this day. It is in the process, but it is not yet there. Compared to the industry aspect of Indian economy or Indian society, we have developed services to such an extent that we are global leaders at it right now. So the important areas that you have to cover is the transition that takes place from an agrarian society to an industry based society, and from an industry based society or economy to an service oriented economy or service oriented service. So that is the chronology that you have to explain. So you have to give a bit of introduction as to what are the attributes that a society requires in order to be called as an agrarian society or an industrialized society or a service oriented society. So in essence, you are checking the boxes and you explain what those check marks are. The second aspect that you have to cover in this regard is why India couldn't go through that industrialization process. Yes, we have seen a huge growth of services in lieu of industrialization, and they are asking you to give the reasons as to why that happened. The final question that they are asking you in this regard is, despite skipping the important process of industrialization, can India become a developed country, or can India be termed as a developed country without the existence of the much required and strong industrial base? So that is how you approach this question. Again, as any other analysis videos, the caveat here is this is not the only way. This is one of many ways that one can answer a UPSC question. Please do keep that in mind. My approach is not absolute. This is just to give you an example as to how one can approach or how one can analyze a question that is being asked in UPSC or any other state services or central services examinations. You might come out with an entirely different answer, and that is also absolutely fine. I just want to make it clear. Now, coming to question number 2, while we flaunt India's demographic dividend, we ignore the dropping rates of employability. What are we missing while doing so? Where will the jobs that India desperately needs come from? Explain. So the interesting thing they're asking you is, India is known for its vast and huge demographic dividend. Despite having such huge pool of human resources, why the unemployment rates are increasing? Not only that, the employability rates are also decreasing. So they are asking, what are we missing? There has to be some reason as to the dropping rates of employability. So what are those reasons? And the third part that they're asking you to consider here or write about is, where can India create employment from? Employment creation. What are the basis or areas or sectors in which India can generate jobs? Job creation is what they are asking you to explain in this question. Simple. It's a straightforward question. So you need to be aware of the current unemployment ratios. What are the employability levels of Indian population at the various sections of the society? Not all sections of the society are skilled equally, so it's also about skill oriented or skilled, how skills are important in creating jobs. Coming to question number 3, there is also a point of view that agricultural produce markets, APMCs, set up under the state acts have not only impeded the development of agriculture but also have been the cause of food inflation in India. Critically examine. So this question was asked in 2014. This is 2021, end of 2021. And the disclosure behind the existence, the operation and the functioning of agricultural produce market committees is still relevant today. So the first thing that you have to address is, what are the issues with the model of APMCs? Second, how are they impeding the development of agriculture in our country? Not only that, how are they enabling food inflation in India? The conclusion should be a solution based. What should or shouldn't the government of India or respective state governments can and should do in order to address these outstanding issues in regards to agricultural produce market committees? So that is straightforward question. Again, you have to be aware of what are the outstanding issues, then you have to come up with solutions. Coming to question number 4, in the villages itself, no form of credit organization will be suitable except the cooperative society. All India Rural Credit Society. This is a statement given by All India Rural Credit Survey, not society. Discuss the statement in the background of agricultural finance in India. What constraints and challenges do financial institutions supplying agricultural finances face? How can technology be used to better reach and serve rural clients? So the core issue that you have to answer in this regard is the concept of agricultural finance in our country. Now you need to understand how agricultural finance works in our country in the first place, and what are the challenges that agricultural financing faces in our country. So when you have the problem, they themselves are asking how technology can be used to better this issue. So they are asking you to use technology to come up with innovative ways to find solutions to this problem. Again, straightforward question, simple. Question number 5. The right to fair compensation and transparency in Land Acquisition, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act of 2013 has come into effect from 1st January 2014. What are the key issues which would get addressed with the act in place? What implications would it have on industrialization and agriculture in India? First, you have to get into a detailed explanation of the act itself and also explain what are the problems that this act intends to solve. Finally, what would be the fallout or the impact on agriculture and industrialization would this act have? That should be your answer. Again, you have to know the act in a greater detail. Coming to question number 6, capitalism has guided the world economy to unprecedented prosperity. However, it often encourages short sightedness and contributes to wide disparities between the rich and the poor. In this light, would it be correct to believe and adopt capitalism for bringing in inclusive growth in India? Discuss. So you have to go into a shorter explanation of capitalism, the advantages of capitalism, the pitfalls of capitalism, and when you go through that, finally they are asking, can this be implemented in India, or can India adopt capitalistic market tendencies or policies? Will that help India? Will it enable India to have an inclusive growth, all while knowing with perfect examples and seeing physical examples that despite the wealth that it brings in, it also brings in a wide and unfillable disparities in the society. So the question itself is contradicting with the real life example of capitalism. On one hand, capitalism does indeed bring wealth in a much faster way compared to a socialistic economy. But along with the money, it also brings in divide between society, class divide, economical divide, and many capitalistic countries are currently struggling to bridge the gap between two levels of society that has been created by capitalism. What India wants is inclusive growth. What they are asking is, can capitalism bring inclusive growth in India? So we have to balance our answer with an example and come up with a possible policy that, while acknowledging the gaps that capitalism will bring, in order to counter those pitfalls, what can India do differently compared to their Western counterparts to address this issue and take advantage of the positives of the capitalistic policies, all while addressing the outstanding issues that capitalism brings. I hope I have been clear. If not, please forgive me. So let me explain. Capitalism will bring prosperity to your country, but at the same time you also know that capitalism doesn't come with no strings attached. It has some strings attached. What are the problems with capitalism or capitalistic policies? Because of capitalism, there is a greater chance that your society might experience wealth divide or economical divide. Some sections of the society might get rich, while some sections of the society society might be pushed into poverty or may not fight their way out of poverty. So the society becomes stagnant. The poor get poorer, the rich get richer. So there is no growth for the lower sections or the lower echelons of your society to rise above their economic shackles. In order to have an inclusive growth, India must be careful while adopting a capitalistic policy or capitalism. What India should do is, while adopting capitalism as a main driving point of our economy, India must build some safeguards that ensures that the economic divide in society does not happen in the first place. Even if it happens, or even an existing economic divide doesn't grow bigger. So these are the safeguards. So in simple terms, capitalism with guard rails. But the realistic question that one has to ask is, can capitalism with guardrails is a doable policy or not? Yeah, it's a in-depth question. Again, not the answer that we have to write. This is one way that you can answer this question. Now coming to question number 7. Explain how private public partnership arrangements in long gestation infrastructure projects can transfer unsustainable liabilities to the future. What arrangements need to be put in place to ensure that successive generation capacities are not compromised? So they are asking you to explain 360-degree view of a PPP model. So what is a PPP model? It's a private partnership, meaning the government and a private entity would get into an agreement to complete a infrastructure projects. So the second aspect that they are asking is, in pursuing the PPP model, are we jeopardizing the infrastructure of our future generations? Because with this model, we are unnecessarily transferring unmanageable and unsustainable liabilities to the future. So you have to give an explanation or a solution based answer that would ensure, all while explaining the advantages of PPP model and also disadvantages of it, and explain specifically why PPP model is a burden on future or burden in future. So that should be one of the ways that one can answer this question. Moving on to question number 8. National urban transport policy, emphasis on moving people instead of moving vehicles. Discuss critically the success of various strategies of government in this regard. So first you have to explain what the NUTP is, that is National Urban Transportation Policy. The second thing that you have to do is why it should lay emphasis on moving people instead of moving vehicles, and also explain what strategies should the government have in order to make this program a grand success. Coming to question number 9. FDI, foreign direct investment in the defense sector, is now set to be liberalized. What influence this is expected to have on Indian defense and economy in the short and long run? So first you have to explain FDI in defense, particularly defense manufacturing. They are asking defense manufacturing, right? Second thing is, should a liberalized policy of FDI in defense is a good idea or not? And also the long term and short term impact of opening up FDI in defense sector. Moving on to question number 10. Scientific research in Indian universities is declining because a career in science is not as attractive as our business professions, right? Engineering or administration and the universities are becoming consumer oriented, critically comment. So they are asking you to evaluate the current scenario of research and development in Indian universities. The second thing that you have to answer is why research and development in universities is always a positive thing and how they would enable India to propel its future. And finally, why are we seeing this distressing signal of decrease in research activity and developmental activity in our universities? So that should be your approach to this answer. Once again, thanks for watching this video. If you have liked the video, please click the like button. The best help that you could do is share this video with your fellow friends who are also preparing for competitive exams. Third, subscribe to the channel, and while you are doing that, please click on the bell icon so that you turn on the notifications and you will be informed whenever a new video is uploaded. Once again, thanks for watching. Namaste.